Chapter 3, Exercise 3, Making Fine Grading Adjustments. So our design now includes the entrances, which we took care of in the last exercise, and now we're really going to start taking a closer look at the design and exactly some specific concerns we have about the way the grades are currently. One of the things we know from the client is that in the drive-through area, traffic needs to be at a certain elevation, basically at the same elevation as the building finished floor. Obviously, as it is right now, everything's sloping down toward the southeast. So as a car travels down the drive-through area, they're actually traveling downhill. And as it is right now, when they reach the drive-through, the car window is going to be too low for the attendant at the window to be able to service the customer. Also, in the north face of the building, which is the front, this is where the main entrance is, and the client would like to see at-grade pedestrian access across the entire front of the building. So basically we want to eliminate any curb right here, and we also need the grades to be at finished grade across the front of the building, and currently they are sloping to the south and east, so as one travels across the face of the building, they are traveling downhill the way the grades are right now. So we need to address those situations and get the grades where they need to be for this particular design. The good news is, because of the iterative way in which we've built our design, we can go back to the intermediate phase of the grading and make some adjustments to the feature lines and grading objects that are driving that data, and with a couple of quick commands we can fix that all up and then reassign the elevations to our detailed geometry. So that's where that approach, that iterative approach of starting out very rough and building more and more detail as you go, it's really where you start to capitalize on that, because we don't have to scrap the entire design just because of these issues. We can step back to the intermediate part of the design, fix the issues, and then just simply apply them to the detailed design. So if we look at how our design's put together, elevations around the building are driven by this feature line. So if we make that feature line do what it needs to do as far as the grades are concerned, then that's also going to drive the other elevations in the design. So we'll get started doing that. We're going to use the grade slope between points command. That's this one right here on the feature lines toolbar. We're going to be modifying the building feature line, and we'll start here, the northwest corner, and we want to go ahead and accept the elevation as it is, and we want to work to the south, and basically what we want to create is a flat situation to a point just beyond the drive-through. So I'm going to pick this point here, which is the first point on the feature line past the drive-through, and I'm going to say that I want the grade for that location, for that range of points, to be 0. So that's going to set a constant elevation from the northwest corner to this point here. Now, one thing you have to be careful about is we've basically just taken this point on the feature line and raised it up a certain amount. We haven't adjusted the next point down, so it's still down at a very low elevation, which is creating a very significant drop, basically from this point to this point. So we have to continue down the feature line and say, we also want to say, from this point at whatever elevation it is now, down to the corner of the building at whatever elevation it happens to be, we want to do a constant grade, which ends up being about 4.35%. So now that will straighten out the grades along that point as well. Now we'll look at the north face of the building. We'll start at the same corner, and that elevation hasn't changed, and it will not change. And we want to work our way to the east, to the northeast corner. And currently that's going down at a grade of 1.26%. We want it to be flat, so our grade is going to be 0. So that'll set elevations the whole way across the front of the building to be equal. Same situation that we had on the other side of the building, we just basically raised that point up a certain amount. We haven't touched the point just south of it, so there's a pretty serious drop right here that we need to smooth out. And we'll just simply apply a constant grade from this point. One thing you want to be careful of with this command, you can see it right there. If I were to go ahead and pick the corner of the building, it's actually going to set the grades working west, south, and then east, which is not what I want to do. So I'm just going to come back up here and kind of redirect my cursor so that I get the elevations traveling in the right direction. That's what I want right there. So that'll get you. You have to watch out for that behavior. Make sure when you're using this command that you're actually affecting the points that you want to affect. So the calculated grade, if it were to go straight from the northeast corner to the southeast corner, would be 2.27%. That's fine. We'll just work with that, and it's going to straighten that all out and make a straight grade from northeast to southeast corner. So not only does that set all the elevations along the building face itself, also keep in mind the reason it's pausing right now is it's recalculating the grading that is being projected from that feature line, which is in turn also updating the intermediate grading model that we have. So not only did we modify elevations along the face of the building, we also modified elevations out here where we're projecting away from the building at 2%. That's the beauty of the intermediate grading model. It is very simple, but it can have a huge impact on the fine grading model, which kind of lies underneath it and is driven by it. So the next thing we'll do is update our fine grading model based on the changes that we've just made. And luckily that's a pretty quick and easy process because of the way we've put this all together. So I'll launch the elevations from surface command, and we will use the intermediate grading surface to do this. So we'll click OK and select all of the feature lines that are affected by this change. So I'll type M for multiple. And basically this affects all of the feature lines that are close to the building. Those are the ones that I'm going to pick. And just like that, all of those feature lines are going to be updated. And remember that we still have to address the reveal of the curve, because the feature lines that we've just selected, they've all been projected to that surface. So we've removed the elevation difference between the top and bottom of curve. So we need to fix that up as well. Luckily that's just a simple raise lower command, and those will be all set. So I've selected the feature lines, right click, raise lower, going down, minus 0.5, and now those are fixed up. The next thing we're going to do is set several of our surfaces to rebuild automatically. So the first one we're going to do is parking lot. We want to make sure that one rebuilds anytime we make a change. And we also want to rebuild this EG intermediate grading surface whenever there's a change. And then finally, we'll rebuild fine grading so that the changes that we've just made are applied to the overall model. And you can see that the grading has in fact been updated.